the madman, coming straight to you with movies, cigars, and a brew. Discussing movies while kicking back, whether they are good or they're bad. With the hottest movies and non-released, I am talking about details and what I see. So tune into the podcast while I vent with reviews, news, and nonsense, yeah.
And now, recorded live from the capital of the first state of these great United States, Keith.
All right. This movie tonight is actually, obviously, going to be one that includes Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey and I share a little bit of a history together. I know he went to high school in Longview, Texas, as I did. He was at the Crosstown Pine Tree. I was at Longview High School. And he's only a couple years older than me, so we were probably in town around the same time. So this is a movie that he was involved with, obviously, a big part of. And this was directed by Stephen Gaghan. He's known for Syriana. He adapted the screenplay for Traffic. He was a writer for Havoc and Rules of Engagement. So, I mean, he has a pretty good history of things that he was involved with that were popular, though you might question as to what part he played in all of those. But this movie is written and directed by him. And unfortunately, I think at the end of the day, I'm going to say that it's not quite as golden as we'd like. And yet that's obviously a pun and a run on the title. The title of the movie is Gold. And it's a modeled movie in the sense that it clearly is a little bit of historical fiction, but it almost plays like a biopic and has elements of a twisty heist, thriller type deal involved with it. It's loosely based on the Canadian gold scandal that actually took place in the 1990s. Stephen chose to set this movie in the 1980s, I think, to try to get that sort of feel. It definitely has the 1980s vibe in it. And really what you're going to take away from this is that, Matthew McConaughey, who, was one time called the sexiest man alive, and I know I read that somewhere. He is not in this. I mean, they really uglied him up for this. I mean, he's snaggletooth. He's balding. He gained a lot of weight, 70 pounds for this role. He really took on the role. I think he had to eat a lot of hamburgers to get that done. And he plays a son of a very successful mining operator, Kenny Wells, and he's Kenny Wells Jr. His father is Craig T. Nelson, which was fun to see in it. He inherits the mining operation after his father dies, and in 7 years after that, he basically runs the entire operation into the ground. So he has a girlfriend he meets in the early going and gives her a watch, and the girlfriend is played by Bryce Dallas Howard. That's Ron Howard's daughter. The last time I saw her that I know of, that I can actually remember, was in Spider-Man 3 when she played the love interest of Tobey Maguire, Gwen. So basically at this point, he's down on his luck, and he gets sort of what is the first elements of hokiness in my mind when I'm looking at it, a dream that he needs to go to Indonesia. And you don't know why, but you see him hawk his, Kay, who's his girlfriend, Bryce Howard, hawks the gold watch that he gave her in the very early part of the movie, so he can run off and do this without her knowing that he hawked it. And essentially, he throws himself at the feet of this geologist, who's Edgar Ramirez, who's played by Edgar Ramirez, and this sets them up and they set off on doing this operation out there. Edgar Ramirez plays a geologist who successfully finds a huge cache for copper, and he believes that he has a secret place, or a place where he thinks that there's an actual gold cache. So at this point, we embark on this whole thing where They risk life, limb, and every last dollar they have to set off and get, to become successful gold prospectors in this area in Indonesia. It's the oldest pursuit in the world. They're looking for gold, and they're looking for large amounts of it. When they actually do find it, obviously they must. And for this movie to actually be there, everybody comes in. Everybody wants to be a part of that, because the mining operation is not what it used to be. It takes a lot of backers to kind of ramp things up. Even when you find it, you got to have backers that kind of give the investment to get the operation going, and that's when Wall Street and everybody comes in. So the story kind of played out that it was a biopic, and then at the same time it starts to turn into this twisty thriller, and you just kind of lose rails. And in the midst of it, they have the little guy against big business, and at the same time they have money makes you evil. And really, some of the characters, Kay, some of the characters just don't play out in the way that you think that they would in real life, and a lot of it just sort of it kind of loses its footing, is the way I would say it. What continues to be riveting about it, I think, is Matthew McConaughey's role. I enjoyed that part of it. I kind of look at this entire movie and I go, if you're a big fan of Matthew McConaughey, you'll like it, because the character is so interesting, because you've never seen him do anything like this. And play this sort of a person. I know we saw Dallas Buyers Club, but even that was, you kind of understood it in a different way. This is a guy that's downtrodden in a literal sort of, way that many of us can identify with, I guess. And just seeing him play that and just not look like he has in some of the other roles, I thought was interesting. If you want to go look up the actual story that was behind this, which took place in the 90s, as I think I mentioned before, it's the Canadian mining scandal, and it's Brie-X, and so you can kind of go back and see what actually took place, and you'll see that a lot of the elements of the story are in there, and obviously they changed a lot as well. So there's a very loose historical base. But this was good. This was good in the sense of McConaughey's role. The script was a little messy, and I think they just kind of lose you along the way. Overall, it was fun to kind of watch. I kind of stayed in it. I didn't think too hard about it when I was in there. Pretty much when you leave there, you might go, I'm not sure what I thought about this, especially with the ending. It's all over the map. But if you like McConaughey, like I do, go see it. I give this a B-, and I can see why they pushed it out of the December time frame and into January. It was supposed to have a limited release. In fact, I think it even got nominated for something at the Golden Globes. But it's technically not even a 2016 movie, because they pushed it out, and I think that they were probably hoping that they would get more out of it. Anytime somebody goes and really changes their appearance, and really, goes all in, actors kind of think that that's an opportunity for them to really hit something out of the park. And with the, some of the movies that, Steven's done before, directed and written, you might think that was a possibility, but this was clearly missed the mark of what they were going for there. They were looking for that late secret one to kind of get in for the Oscars, and I think they realized it wasn't going to happen, and the reviews haven't been overly good for it since. So anyway, this was this is one you can go check out if you got nothing else to watch, I suppose. If not, wait for it to come out on DVD. It is worth a viewing then, I suppose, if you like Matthew McConaughey. Not as good as Mud. I liked Mud a lot better than this, I think. But it was interesting. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'll talk to you again soon.
You have been listening to the Movies, Cigars, and a Brew podcast. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher. Find reviews of other movies, cigars, and beers at moviescigarsandabrew.com. Give a like on Facebook or follow Keith on Twitter at Movie Cigar Beer. Your trailer is coming up next.
Mr. Kenny Wells? Why don't you start from the beginning?
It was April of '88. I lost my house. I lost everything. Where would I be without you?
Sitting right here.
I had a dream. Like I was being called. It was the gold calling. Indonesia was booming. Mike.
What are we talking about?
You know it's still out there. We just haven't found it yet. So let's prove them wrong. You and me. Whatever it takes. You got a plan? I'll find the gold. Last card you turn over is the only one that matters.
You gotta strike.
We gotta go, Mike.
We gotta go, Mike.
We gotta go, Mike!
We believe you're sitting on the largest gold find of the decade.
The sky is the limit.
You must be very proud.
Never doubted for a second.
Let's go make some goddamn money.
How does that feel to discover something that everybody wants?
Finding gold. It's like a drug. Because it hooks you.
These people are using you.
So I can land this plane. I can.
This is the FBI!
What happened? What happened? $17 billion disappeared overnight. A lot of very powerful people are very angry. These people are killers.
You see these hands? These are my father's hands. And I will bury you with these hands. For better or worse, the ride had begun. And what a goddamn ride. It's amazing how little gold can just change everything.